Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari 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 Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Sri Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Shivasadi Go Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Jaya Radha, Radhanath, Radha Radhanath, Radhe Jaya Radha Radhanath. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan. Jaya Gaura Hare, Gaura Hare, Gaura Hare Jaya, Gaura Hare Jaya. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Gaur Haribo, Nitai Gaur. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya. Go Premanand He, Jayam Vishnupad, Paramamsa Parivrajikacharya, Dr. Srimad, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki, Bhaktivedanta Purports Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Nitai Go Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to Guru and Gauranga, all glories lotus feet, Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna. So we're continuing with Srimad Bhagavatam. First, I'd like to get the blessings of His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami. Feeling very intimidated sitting in your presence, giving class. Please give me your mercy so I can say something. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaivam Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudiraye Nasta Prayasya Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavat Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So today's verse is text 47. Brahma satisfies Lord Shiva. Fourth canto, chapter 6. Pritagdiya karma drisho durashaya. Pritagdiya karma drisho durashaya. Parodayena pita ridyujo nitsam. Rijo anishin. Paran durukai vitudan yarun tutas. Paran duruk titai vidan yarun tutas. Dan mavadidaiva vadan bavad vidha. Pritagdiya karma drisho durashaya. Parodayena pritaridrajo nisham. Paranduruktai vitudan charuntutas. Janmavadiddaivavan bhavat vidha. Pritak deha karma risho durashaya. Parodayena pitaridrijo nisham. Paranduriktai vitudan arundutas. Jan mahadiddaivat vadan bhavat vidha. Pritak diya karma trisho durashaya. Parodayena pitaridrijo nisham. Param duk duruktai vitudan yarundutas. Dan mahadiddaiva vadan bhavat vidha. Pritagdiya karma drisho durashaya. Paran ridrujo nisham. Paranduruktai vitudan yarundutas. Janmavadiddaiva vadan bhavat vidha. Pridadiya karma disho durashaya. Paranduruktai vitudan yarundutas. Janmavadiddaiva Vidan bhavat vidham. Pritak deha karma disho durashaya. Paradaya pita ridrujo nisham. Param duruktai vitudan yaruntudas. Janma vaduddaiva vadan bhavat vidha. Mothers, Pritakti karma disho durashaya. Parodayena pita ridrujo nisham. Paranduruktai vitudan yaruntudas. Janma vaduddaiva vadan bhavat vidha. Vidagdiya karma disho durashaya. Parodayena pita ridrujo nisham. Paranduruktai vitudan yaruntudas. Janma vaduddaiva vadan bhavat vidha. Vidagdiya karma disho durashaya. Parodayena Pita Ridrajo Nisham. Paranduruktair Vitudantyarun Tuda. Janma Vadudeva Vadan Bhava. We talk differently. Deha, those who are thinking. Karma, fruitive activities. Drisha, observer. Durashaya, mean-minded. Parudayena, Bahadur's flourishing condition. Arpita, giving up. Rit, art. Ruja, anger. Anisham, always. Paran, others. Duruktai, harsh words. Vitudante, gives pain. Aruntuda, by piercing words. Tan, unto them. Ma, not. Avadit, kill. Deva, by providence. Vadhan, already killed. Bhavat, you. Vidha, like. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Persons who observe everything with differentiation, who are simply attached to fruitive activities, who are mean-minded, who are always pained to see the flourishing condition of others, and who thus give distress to them by uttering harsh and piercing words, have already been killed by providence. Thus, there is no need for them to be killed again by an exalted personality like you. Repeat responsibly. Persons who observe everything with differentiation, who are simply attached to fruitive activities, who are mean-minded, who are always pained to see the flourishing condition of others, and who thus give distress to them by uttering harsh and piercing words, have already been killed by providence. Thus, there is no need for them to be killed again by an exalted personality like you. Purport. Persons who are materialistic and always engaged in fruitive activities for material profit cannot endure seeing the flourishing life of others. Except for a few persons in Krishna consciousness, the entire world is full of such envious persons who are perpetually full of anxieties because they are attached to the material body and without self-realization. Since the hearts are always filled with anxiety, it is understood that they have already been killed by providence. Thus, Lord Shiva, as a self-realized Vaishnava, was advised not to kill Daksha. A Vaishnava is described as para dukkha dukhi, because although he is never distressed in any conditions of life, he is distressed to see others in a distressed condition. Vaishnavas therefore should not try to kill by any action of the body or mind, but should try to revive the Krishna consciousness of others out of compassion for them. The Krishna consciousness movement has been started to deliver the envious persons of the world from the clutches of Maya. And even though devotees are sometimes put into trouble, they push on the Krishna consciousness movement in all tolerance. Lord Chaitanya advises, Trinarapi sunichaina taro eva taro hapi shaishnuna hamanena manadena kirtanya sadahari. One can chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than the tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and ready to offer all respects to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Shishastika 3. A Vaishnava should follow the examples of such Vaishnavas as Haridas Thakur, Nityananda Prabhu, and also Lord Jesus Christ. There is no need to kill anyone who has already been killed. But it should be noted herewith that a Vaishnava should not tolerate the blaspheming of Vishnu or Vaishnavas, although he should tolerate personal insults to himself. Pitakdiya karma drisho durashaya parodayena pita ridrijo nisham paranduruktai vitutan arundutas tan mavadiddaiva vadan bhava vidha. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumalitam Jaina Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jaina Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamayam Tadati Swa Padantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunath Hanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padhan Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishakhan Vitamscha. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vanchakalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Hevacha Patitanam Pavinibhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So this is the ongoing conversation between Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. Of course, after the terrible dilemma that took place, and Lord Shiva, of course, was very, very upset after losing his good wife, Mother Sati. Of course, there was all carnage in the sacrifice, and Lord Shiva's assistance, and they really damaged the whole place. So Lord Brahma is pacifying Lord Shiva by these wonderful words throughout this chapter. He's glorifying Lord Shiva as the greatest devotee of the Lord. And he's compassionate. Last week we spoke about how he drank the ocean of poison to save the universe. So such persons voluntarily accept suffering for the benefit of others. And therefore the Lord, he glorifies such personalities there. And in Bhagavad Gita also, the Lord, towards the end of the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita, the Lord is saying that one who spreads this message of Bhagavad Gita is very dear to him. One who speaks of my glories is very dear to me. And one who studies the scripture, he says, he studies with his intelligence. Jai Sri Sri Radharanath ki jai. Sri Giriraj Govardhan ki jai. So since time immemorial, the question of the desire to lord it over material nature has been in existence. And therefore the Lord, he created this material world for such persons who wanted to enjoy separately from Him. And He gave us all the facility for to enjoy in this material world. To play out our fantasy of being the controller, of being the enjoyer, and this nature of envy, lust, anger, greed. These are all perversions. When the material world is a perverted reflection of the spiritual world. These does not exist in the spiritual world. They don't. They're conspicuous by their absence. Therefore, the Lord created this material world for that purpose. And we say that we can experience that also. We also part of that creation, and how this nature is being. It's like we conditioned to such an extent that it's very, very difficult to come out of the clutches of this material nature. Daivisha gunamai mama maya durach. Krishna is saying like that. This divine energy of mind, this maya, is very, very difficult to overcome. It's only by surrender that we can overcome it, easily overcome it. Mama maya durachaya. So this desire comes from envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the all-knowing Lord placed the so-called enjoyers in the material world to live out their fantasy and their independent nature. We have to understand that we are, the Lord has multifarious energies, and we are one of His energies. We are the marginal Tatastha Shakti. The Lord has spiritual energy, He has the marginal energy, and He has the inferior material energy. Therefore, being marginal, we tend to over back and forth between the material and the spiritual. Therefore, some minute independence is there. How this independence is there is inconceivable also. And yet we are dependent on the Lord for everything, isn't it? As He's saying in the Bhagavad Gita, Rasaham apsukauntaya, I am the taste of water. We are dependent on water. Without water we won't survive, we will die. The air that we breathe, the sun, the heat of the sun, the cooling rays of the moon. And He is all this. He is all this. All these energies are permeating there. And yet we think we're independent. In our foolishness, we think we are independent. And therefore the tendency to misuse that independence and lord it over material nature. So due to coming under the illusory influence of the inferior energy, he becomes completely covered. Thus the jiva unceremoniously thinks. And he is steeped in material consciousness. Ahankar, the false egos, is very prominent. The ahankar. And that dictates every facet of our existence based on that, on this false ego. And this is the cause of our acting contrary to our original nature, which as Lord Chaitanya outlines, Jivera Swarupai, Krishnara Nitya Das, Krishna Tatastha Shakti, Beda Ha Beda, Prakash. We are Krishna's, our Swarup, our constitutional position is that we are eternally servants of Krishna. Krishnara Nityadas. Krishna Tatastha. We are Krishna's marginal energy. And we are one, inconceivably one. Beda ha Beda. One and different. We are one and we are different. But the tendency when we're covered by the we forget that. We completely become illusioned, and in ignorance we falsely think that we are controlling, and therefore we give pain, as Prabhupada in the purpose, how we give pain to others due to this misconception, misguided understanding of our real self. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna in so many ways is giving us such transcendental knowledge to make us understand that. Bhoktaram Jagya Tapasam. Bhagavad Gita chapter 5, the conclusion of that chapter, 29, text 29. Bhoktaram Jagya Tapasam. Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. Yatva Mam Shantim Richati. He says, I am the factual enjoyer of all your sacrifices, of all your austerities. And I am the control of all the universe, the demigods and the universe. Suridam Sarva Bhutanam. I am the friend of all living entities, not only in the human form of life, but throughout the 8,400,000 species of life. The Lord is His friend, He's Paramatma. He enters into everyone as Paramatma and is guiding us. He's our well-wisher. Surit, well-wisher. When Srila Prabhupada would write to his disciples, he would always end, "You're ever well-wisher." Now this is Paradukha Dukhi. Paradukha Dukhi is this is the definition of that. He's a well-wisher, not becomes envious of seeing others flourishing. A typical materialist will see like that. When he sees there's competition, when he sees some people have more than him, or they have a bigger house than him, or a better car than him, or better family, wife, whatever, or you tend to have more money, then there's always this tinge of envy is there. And we see that in a national scale also. We become attached to our country and we loathe, we tendency to have conflict with other countries that are against us. Or if some country has lots of resources, especially if they are weaker in terms of in terms of strength or population, then the bigger powers, they tend to exploit. This is the nature we see throughout the history of this world, how the bigger powerful nations have colonized and have exploited the resources. And therefore there's always this constant bickering, constant hatred. When Srila Prabhupada was in America in the beginning of the 70s, America was at war with Vietnam. And of course the younger generation did not want to go to this war. They felt it wasn't their war. It was just some politics there. And there was great dissension among them. And Srila Prabhupada, he asked the devotees to print a flyer based on this verse, 529, that Krishna is the actual enjoyer. He is the owner. He owns everything. Ishavasham idam sarvam. He's the proprietor of everything. He's a central figure. He owns everything. And if we come to that realization, Yatva mam shantim richati, we become peaceful. from the pangs of material miseries. Having that realization. Yeah. So the duty of the Paradukkha Dukhis is to inculcate that, is to give them mercy. Such devotees are described by a sadhu, um, Kapiladev is preaching to his mother, and he's describing the nature of a sadhu. Um, uh, Karunika, Titikshapa Karunika, Surida Sarva Dehinam. He's compassionate and he's merciful and he's a friend to all. He has no enemies. He has no enemies. And that is the ornament, sadhu bhushanam. That is the ornament of a sadhu, that is free from these things. As long as we harboring these anathas, then it's very, very difficult. It's very, very difficult. Because we sing on the bodily concept, we sing externally. The tendency to say things externally can be very, very traumatizing. Therefore, we have to somehow go inward. And this is what we thank the great acharyas for bringing such wonderful knowledge, especially to the Western world, to free us from this anxiety. This kunta. Kunta means anxiety. Vaikunta means no anxiety. So you have to make this place Vaikunta. Srila Prabhupada was walking in New York. He said, "This is Vaikunta." And how we all know New York is like this, the capital of Kali Yuga. But Prabhupada saw it differently. He saw how he can make this Vaikunta. Because they're carrying, he says, these are tirthapad. Wherever they rest their feet, wherever the feet touches, becomes a place of worship. Becomes a place of worship. So we have to create that kind of in this material world so that we can benefit the Paradukkha Dukhi. Prabhupada uses that phrase here. Paradukkha Dukhi. In the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, the divine and the demoniac, and in the first 3 verses, he outlines the qualities of a godly person. What are the qualities of a godly person? And then the first is abhijitasya. Abhijatasya. He says, Prabhupada says in the purport, is a reference to one born of transcendental qualities or godly tendencies. Is very significant. How is that? We have to kind of create an atmosphere of godliness from even before the time of conception. Because whatever's in the consciousness enters through conception. And he speaks of the Garbhadan. Garbhadan sanskar. We have to perform such samskars, impressions, create such impressions for a godly presence. If the parents, Prabhupada says, if the parents want a child in the godly qualities, they should follow the principles of recommended for the social life of the human being. And Krishna says, Kamosmi, I am sex life which is not contrary to Vedic principles. Sex life is not condemned, provided the process is used in Krishna consciousness. And he says, those who are in Krishna consciousness should not beget children like cats and dogs, but should beget them so that they may become Krishna conscious after birth, so that they should be the advantage. That should be the advantage of children born of a father and mother absorbed in Krishna consciousness. So in this way we can solve the problems of this material life. These samskars are there for purification. There are 10, but I don't remember all of them. But Garbhadan, the first is prayers. Garbha means the womb. So that's where it starts. Isn't it? The first demons were created due to that. Hiranyaksha, Yanikashipur, by the Kasyap Muni and Diti. Kasyap Muni was performing his tapasya, very, very focused and concentrated. And his wife was becoming aroused, and she wanted some attention. But he was so focused, and she was being very, very persistent, and he had to accede to her demands. But the time was very inauspicious. It was when the sun was setting. When the sun is setting, and he said at that time, Lord Shiva is traveling with all his unsavory characters. Lord Shiva is Bhutanath. He's giving shelter to those without bodies, subtle bodies, ghosts, pishashas, all kinds of hobgoblins, and they're all looking for a gross body to enter into, so that they could become free from their suffering. So in this way, it is said in the scriptures also that this is not a good time for performing such acts. It is very, very inauspicious. And therefore, this is how the first demons appeared. And throughout the 16th chapter, Krishna gives the different descriptions of how all the qualities, pride, arrogance, conceit, anger, greed, and sometimes they perform activities that are not very conducive. They create such obnoxious weapons, or such deadly weapons and they get Nobel Prize for such creations. But what is the result of that? Is that it's mass destruction, nuclear weapons, atom bomb. These are very, very destructive. And it's coming to the brink of that now. It is such a precarious, the whole world now is in such a precarious position. And these leaders, they're not Krishna conscious. They're not. They all have their own agendas of controlling and becoming powerful leaders and controlling. All they want is control. And we see how the world is suffering. 1/5 of the world's population owns 4/5 of the world's resources. And therefore, they create a kind of artificial shortage. Now we can experience that, this shortage of grain, shortage of gas, shortage of natural minerals, natural oil. You go to the shops, price of oil is so exorbitant. 2-3 years ago, the price of a 5-liter oil was 50 rand, 80 rand. Now it's triple that price. What to speak of petrol, the price of diesel, the price of petrol. And all these, when they go up, then everything else goes up. Your everyday bread, milk, and the poor man in the street just becomes more poverty stricken. And therefore, at some point, it will come to a boiling point. There'll be anarchy, there'll be rioting, looting. And these are all called by the greater powers who are, they don't give a damn. As long as they are living comfortably and they have their families and their houses and they are protected, they couldn't care. So this is not paradukha dukhi. No. Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto, I'll read some verses from here. This is from the 7th chapter 9, text 43. Very famous verse there. Naivod vijay para durachaya vaitaranyas tvad virya gayana maham rita magna chitta soche tato vimukha chetasa indriyartha maya sukaya baram udvato vimudan. Vimudan. They are best of the great personalities. I am not all afraid. This is prayers by Prahlad to Lord Nishimadev. O best of the great personalities, I am not at all afraid of material existence. For wherever I stay, I am fully absorbed in thoughts of your glories and activities. My concern is only for the fools and rascals who are making elaborate plans for material happiness and maintaining their families, societies, and countries. I am simply concerned with love for them. So this is para dukkha dukhi. This is the heart of a Vaishnava, that soft, compassionate nature. I was thinking of one pastime in the Mahabharata where Vidura, one of the brothers of the Kauravas, the Dhritarashtra, Pandava, and there was Vidura. Vidura wasn't born of royal blood, but he was the son of the maidservant. But Duryodhana would always insult him, although Vidura stayed in the house of the Kauravas. But he was also very favorably disposed to the Pandavas. He had so much love and affection for them. And Duryodhana would always pass remarks very piercingly. You son of a kept woman, you're a spy, And at some point, Vidura could not take it anymore. He just left. It is said, you should not hear blasphemy. One should leave the place immediately. So Vidura left. And for many years, he was on pilgrimage. And after the war, he's coming back very, very fired up. And he comes to the house of the palace of the Pandavas, were restored as the rightful rulers. Yudhishthira, Arjun, Bhima, Nakul, Sahadev, and of course, Mother Kunti is there. And Dhritarashtra is there. And he sees Dhritarashtra and he goes for him. He says, you gave so much pain to the Pandavas, even from very young. You are blind. Yes, you were blind, but you were also spiritually blind, apart from being materially blind. And the very people you tried to kill, you are staying in the house, and they are feeding you very nicely. But you are just like a dog. waiting for scraps of meat. Like a dog is waiting, anguish, waiting for something to throw at him. So like that, he said, you should give up your life. You are whole, you are coughing. You should leave this place immediately. So somehow Dhritarashtra, he took the advice, and at midnight, while everybody was asleep, he left the place without telling anybody. And Gandhari followed him. His very chaste wife followed him. And eventually he performed Astanga Yoga, and in that way he self-immolated himself and set fire in a pyre. And Gandhari followed, being very chaste wife. She followed also into the pyre. So this is the Vaishnava. He cares not for material life, but more for our liberation from the suffering. As Krishna says, this material world, dukkhalayam shashvatam. Dukkhalayam, duk, opposite of sukh. Dukkha means is miserable, and it is temporary. Ashashvatam, this material world. So many ways is reminding us of the nature of this material world. Dukkhalayam shashvatam. Get out. Take the words of Bhagavad Gita. Surrender to the acharyas. Surrender. These are the real para dukkha dukkis. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Maharaj, can you help us? So,
just a tiny additional point is that you're talking about the politicians and how they're abusive and all that. The Nobel Peace Prize, such a famous thing. Mr. Nobel, who's, behind the whole thing.
yeah.
He's famous because he invented dynamite. Yeah, Nobel invented dynamite, and from all the money he made, he started the Peace Prize.
Yeah.
For peace. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. It was Oppenheimer. Was it Oppenheimer who invented the atom bomb? Apparently he was reading Bhagavad Gita. I don't know how true that is. And that verse that struck, time I am the destroyer of this world. Hare Krishna. Anybody else has any? Swetadi Prabhu?
Just one thing. Vidura, he left and he went on Padayatra.
Padayatra. Thank you. Have to follow in his footsteps. Swarup Prabhu. Arjuna.
I'm struggling to understand these words where it says that by uttering harsh and piercing words have already been killed by providence. You could help me understand that, please? In the text.
Yeah. Ultimately, providence takes care of all of us. By providence, it's by destiny. Like in the war, in the Mahabharata war, Krishna is saying to Arjuna, just become my instrument. They already been taken care of. They already killed by me. Just become my instrument. But yeah, because such persons, they give pain even to the sadhus or to the devotees, then they get reaction. That reaction is that is their suffering condition. It's like a slow, painful death for them. Maharaj, you want to add to that?
Sanskrit word which has been translated as by providence is daiva, which really indicates the hand of the Lord. The hand of the Lord and the arrangements made by the Lord. So people who are like this give distress by uttering harsh and piercing words and simply attached to fruitive activities, mean-minded, etc., etc. They, by the natural arrangements of karma, they're just going to be destroyed. Yeah. Because that's what happened. That's the reaction that you get. If you're like that, you get destroyed. Your karma is such. And therefore, anyway, yeah. Therefore, you don't need to make, like a lot of these demons, they just kill each other. That's their karma. So you don't, if you think, oh, they're so bad, they should be killed, you don't need to bother. They're going to be killed by their own karma sooner or later. Something like that, I'd say.
Thank you, man. Mataji's, any questions, comments? Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just about that point, Prabhupada explains the whole thing in the purport. That those persons who are harsh and envious, they are just perpetually full of anxieties. And that's their suffering for their behavior. Nothing needs to be done about it from Lord Shiva's side in this case, because they're already going to be suffering by the anxiety in the heart. Yeah, what they're doing is their own punishment. Yeah, basically.
Thank you. Srila Prabhupada ki, Granth Raj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Thank you.